It's been a couple of years since we made a video about the Alpha Audio offices, and I think the last one was 3 years ago, and well, a lot has happened. One of the things that happened is COVID, and during those COVID lockdowns and misery, we invested a lot in live streaming to offer you the chance to hear and feel what we hear and feel, well, in a way, of course. And I wanted to show you what we changed, and I wanted to tell you what made Alpha Audio unique in that sense. So, some things changed a lot and some things didn't change a lot. Well, our editing space and typing space didn't change a lot. This is the... Yeah, you can see it. This is the editing computer. Loads of screens to see what we're doing and loads of compute power to edit in a decent way. That is the corner where we do our networking tests and experiments. We also train people in networking architecture. It's mostly B2B, but yeah, well, it's my other business, and we need space for that and we need computing power for that. So that's our nerd corner, so to say. If some editors visit us, this is the place where they can work. We have a place for them to sit comfortably and take coffee and stuff like that. So this is our photography and video room. It's acoustically treated, so there's no reverb, well, no harsh reverb, and we invested in loads of lights. As you can see, my face is now completely blown out, I think, but hey. We invested in some extra tube lights, RGB tube lights to create some nicer pictures, extra LED lights for the photography, and a green screen over there for our trainings, for networking mostly. We don't use the green screen that much, but for some purposes it's very handy. It's a relatively small space, but it's okay. You don't need a lot of space for video. Some people think you do, but actually you don't need that much. So it's a decent room, and it's a nice room to work in. Nerds will always be nerds, so we created the touchscreen with Home Assistant to control our lights, and we can dim, switch them on and off. It's pretty cool. As you can see over there, that's the background for most of our Q&As and some review videos as well. Those are the lights we use for the review videos and the Q&As. All of them are Aputure. They're not expensive and they're very reliable, and well, you can decouple them, take them on the road if you want. It's kind of a job, but it's possible. And we have some extra lights we usually take on the road. They're a little bit smaller and lighter and thinner, so more comfortable to take along with you. We usually don't show you all the junk, but lenses. And you can see it over there, yeah, a cabinet filled with batteries, cables, microphones, recorders and stuff like that. So it's we now need 2 storage rooms. It's ridiculous. This one is quite full, if you can see it. We have some TADs, Meridian, Toyful, a load of Primaire stuff we're about to review. We're in the technical room right now, and we can talk a little bit about what makes Alpha Audio unique, in that sense that we do stuff a little bit different than other platforms. There you see our server cabinet, and it's not only for storage. Most of this part actually is for the live streams. We invested a lot in live streaming gear in the past 2.5 years, I think. Yes, 2.5 years. Better preamps, better cables, better servers, better technology overall. We use Dante now for audio transport. We invested in better microphones to make better samples, and we completely rebuilt the streaming computer. We used an old computer in the past, but it was not reliable enough and not powerful enough to record in, for example, ProRes. Now we can record in ProRes. And that's not really important for you, but for us it is, because we want to deliver the absolute maximum quality for you. So you can depend on the quality we offer you. And of course stuff will be better in the future, and we will invest in better gear again and again and again to keep improving, because we really believe in our live tests and our live streams and our samples. But that's not all. A couple of months ago we bought a Prism D-Scope to actually measure the performance of the gear we have for testing. Let me show you that. A couple of months ago we invested in some measuring gear, like this Prism D-Scope, this Regal, and we have some dummy loads and variable resistors on our left side here. Measuring is important, we think. It gives you an indication of what the performance of a piece of equipment is technically. Now there are two sides in our hi-fi industry, I think. One side believes in measurements and pure measurements, and if it measures crap, it is not a good piece of equipment. And the other side says, you know, you have to listen, and it doesn't matter how it measures, because if it sounds good, it is good. Well, as a journalist, I think you always should show both sides. You need to be as objective as possible. Well, and if you want to be as objective as possible, you need to measure. Now this is very expensive equipment, so we needed to save some money to make it possible to invest in gear like this. And this is only where it starts, because then you need dummy loads, and you need variable resistors, and you need tons of cables and a computer. So it is quite an investment, but I think it's a very important investment to make as a platform. If you want to do your job seriously and decent, you need to invest in knowledge, in gear, and well, in yourself, in a way. To summarize, we make measurements of the equipment we have, we make samples, record samples of the equipment we have in-house, we live stream our reviews, we live stream our interviews, and let me show you where most of the work is done. Oh yes, the listening room is also completely automated, and we can have all the colors of the rainbow. I think it's pretty cool. This is our listening room. We completely rebuilt it last summer, and we made a small documentary about it. It was a ton of work to get it like this, because all the windows are isolated now. The acoustics are done, and we improved the acoustics up until recently, actually, because there was a small bass issue, and you heard it also in the sampling videos, and that's why we invest so much time and energy and also money in acoustics, because the acoustics are critical to the performance of all the equipment we test here. Our reference system is actually changed recently. We now use we used the Passlabs XP12 for a long time already, but now we have the X150.8 as a reference power amplifier. We use the Grimm UC1 as a reference DA converter, along with the Sonnet Pasithea DAC. And why we have both? Well, this is an oversampling DAC, and this is a NOS DAC. So we now have both technologies, and I think the Grimm UC1 is one of the best oversampling DACs for a reasonable price, because it's 4,800 euros, I think. And the Sonnet Pasithea is one of the best NOS DACs for a reasonable price. It's around 6,000 euros. Yes, it's a lot of money, but believe me, you can do, well, the sky is the limit, so to say. This is our Alpha Audio PC. It uses JCAT network cards and JCAT USB cards, and well, it's heavily modified. It's always a work in progress, so to say, but it's pretty decent now, and we like it as a transport, as a Roon endpoint. And we use the Mutech MC3 Plus USB. So that's the front end. At the back we have the Isotech Titan Evo 5 as for the power amplifier and other amplifiers we use. It's a very nice high current filter. And we use the Isotech Aquarius Evo 5 for sources. Know that we're in a vinyl pressing factory, so the power here is not as good as we wish, so we really need filtering in our system to get it to the level we desire. So that's the system. We're testing Diptyque now. That's the hi-fi side. We also have a video multi-channel part of the room. It's a little bit darker, as you can see. It was even darker than this, but we installed some LED spotlights to create some extra light, because sometimes we need to assemble stuff here, and if it's too dark it's really annoying to work. But this is a big screen. And we use, if you can see it, an Optoma 4K laser projector. Very nice projector. Yes, it's DLP, I know. Sometimes I see rainbowing, but not as much as I would think. And the color reproduction is just insane. And the contrast also. It's a very nice projector. We can also use our custom install wall to test in-wall loudspeakers. Because these can be removed, and we have some frames and we can build in other loudspeakers and we can test in-wall. Well, this was the office tour. I hope you liked it, and I hope you got a sense of why Alpha Audio is a little bit different than other platforms. Hope to see you on the website, on YouTube, other social media, and if you like to support us, we have a Patreon page as well. See you. Bye bye.